Hello, cult members, and welcome to Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And we're back.
We're back.
We've had several weeks off from doing the main show. We've done some trailer reactions, which we'll talk about. But the main show we haven't done, the big shoe, because our other hobby, that takes up, it used to take up a lot more of our time, but doesn't take up nearly as much as anymore. We had our largest local event, 3,000 people camping and fighting and doing stuff.
Probably not this year.
Not so much this year, because the 100-year, million-year, 5-year...
We got some rain.
Some deluge. Okay, we live in the desert of Arizona. Our yearly average rainfall is less than 8 inches.
I think it's like 3.5.
I think it's a little bit more than that.
Is it? Okay.
Because we got 3.5 in one freaking day.
They got 36 inches of snow.
Yeah, something like that.
Flagstaff,
yeah.
No, it was more than that.
Yeah,
it was a ton. More snow than they've had in over 100 years. In one day.
Yeah, in one day. Our tent, I have photos, so I'll share them in here somewhere with the whole process. But our tent was under 2 inches of water, and we have a 16 by 16 tent. Actually, the room that our studio is actually smaller than our camping tent.
Yeah.
And so we went and set up, and I had like one night at the event. She had to work the next day, so she didn't come out until the next day, which I'm glad she did because she saved me. And then they closed the site. We couldn't get back on site, and we went out on the site, and it was mud everywhere, and it was so we just tore down on Sunday and came home.
Yep.
So we're very much looking forward to our Phoenix Fan Fusion, formerly known as Comic-Con, because
the Phoenix Fan
Confusion, as we call it in this place. We're actually looking forward to it this year, outside of the reasons that we actually get a real vacation. But we have a lot of people coming, Borman and Elisha Wood,
and we're working on our cosplay ideas now.
Yes, Neville's coming from Harry Potter. So
Harry Potter shirt.
So as much as we missed you guys, we're really excited to actually be doing something that's not wet involved. So we're going to get into this week. A lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about is kind of stuff that's happened over the last 2 weeks. We're not going to talk about Spielberg because he's just an old man telling everybody to get off his lawn. And
we could have a whole show talking about how Steven is wrong.
We might actually do something once the Academy has a decision on all of that. But
maybe, yeah.
But a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about is stuff that we got caught up on, and then some news and notes and stuff that happened that we find interesting. Not all of it. We are going to start off with sad news that happened this morning. Luke Perry from Beverly Hills 90210 and Rivendell had a stroke last week. I guess it was a pretty big stroke because he passed away this morning. He was 52.
Yep, same age as me.
And that. I have a coworker who's like, oh, must have been drugs involved. Luke was never that druggy kind of guy. So,
and a stroke.
It could be anything.
Happen to anybody.
Yeah.
You can, it's loss of blood to your brain, so you can have a blood clot or an aneurysm or whatever, and you have a stroke.
Yeah, it's super sad. He actually we don't watch Rivendell. I keep wanting to get into it, but I think it's a little. I think it's a little too CW teeny for us, but I love the idea of what they're doing on that show.
Yeah.
And he was Archie's dad on the show, and so I'm very interested to see how they handle that. But I never want anybody to pass away. I have a better understanding when people are older and pass away, but he was too young, so that sucks. So let's get on to the fun stuff. We're going to start what this episode is going to be entitled, The Umbrella Academy is the Shit. I may not be actually what we actually named this one, but something about the Umbrella Academy will actually be in this episode title.
Okay.
This was a comic from Dark Horse that was written by Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance. He was the main writer on it, but he had some help.
Oh, I didn't know he was from My Chemical Romance.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And he wrote this graphic novel. It's actually a series of graphic novels, and it is about there's 42 women in the world who give birth on the same day who were not pregnant when the day started.
Yep.
And this eccentric millionaire, billionaire, whatever guy goes and buys 7 of the children with the understanding that they probably have some kind of superpowers.
Right. And I think that not all of the children, all of the 42 have superpowers.
Yeah, they don't really kind of talk about that.
Yeah.
But the 6 of the 7 that he purchases do have superpowers. And then so the story is about him, the billionaire dude, the rich guy, dying, and all of them coming back as adults,
right,
to kind of deal with being a lost parent and being they all know about this stuff.
They're all very dysfunctional.
Yes, in their own different ways.
Right, because I mean, they were bought.
Right.
They were not actually related. He was an older guy. Spoilers? I don't really think those are spoilers. Mom is actually a robot.
Yeah.
So, there's all this growing up with this distant dad. They show some scenes of them trying to go talk to him, and he's like, mom brings him in to say goodnight, and he's like, good night, and they're all like standing there, and she's like, okay, let's go to bed. And
he was very much the CEO or general manager of a team.
Right.
And he cultivates the powers and using their abilities together to help fight crime and do different things. But as all of them got older, they all rebelled and went off and started doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Except for is it Luther? Luther is the only one who stays.
Right.
And everyone else goes off on their
number.
Luther was number 2. I think he was number 2.
And
I don't have IMDb has.
Yeah, they don't have their numbers, which is interesting because they call them by in the show. Like number 5, you have no idea what his actual name is.
So in the show itself, it's very cool because the rich guy, Reginald Hargreaves, is actually he doesn't give them names.
Yeah.
And part of their rebellion is they give themselves names.
Right.
And so that kind of starts leading them down this avenue, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
The show, though, is super stylized, very noir kind of feel to it, very dark, muted tones, color-wise and stuff like that. One of the characters, actually number 5, is a teleporter, and he teleported out of time and then comes back in, and that's kind of the catalyst of the series.
Yeah.
And it's
that and him dad dying.
Yeah. But this show is a family drama. It just happens to be that they're all got superpowers.
Right.
And that part is just that's what I keep trying to tell everybody. It is a family drama. Like they deal with some heavy stuff in this show.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, one guy can teleport and one guy can punch through a brick wall and
yeah. And they I read a quote from what was his name? The writer?
Gerard
Way, that his comic was not as diverse as the cast and kind of how they portrayed the cast.
Right.
And he was actually very happy that they kind of took something that he would have done if he'd thought about it, I guess. And because there's a black girl, isn't 5 Asian?
5 is no.
He's not Asian.
No, but the guy, so
one of them's gay.
Klaus.
Klaus is gay.
Klaus is
Klaus is anything
that happens to be there. Allison is blonde-haired black woman. It's got Ellen Page, who kind of is this like super mousy version.
Right.
Diego is Latino.
Yeah.
Like they kind of like they don't really come out and say like they don't make a point
of pointing it out. Right.
The only time they really point out is Klaus, because Klaus is kind of like, well,
flamboyant. He runs around in a skirt and a boa half the time, and
he's either high or drunk most of the time,
right.
and he's the super dysfunctional one. Just the dynamics of the cast themselves. The girl that plays Allison, this is like her second or third credit on IMDb, but her first main role, and she's so good in it. The reason this show really got picked up and got going was because of Ellen Page signed on to do it,
right? And
she plays like the main character within the show, and the guy who plays Luther is Tom Hopper, who is Dickon from Game of Thrones and
right.
stuff.
Dickon.
And so there's all these little things, and there's a walking, upright, talking with an English accent monkey.
Who's the butler?
Like there's just stuff.
And Mary J. Blige is in it.
Is the
like a time cop?
Time cop, bad guy, villain, or whatever, and her partner. So it's like the partner is
her partner, who's a guy. His name is Hazel. Mary J. Blige's name is Cha Cha.
It's Cha. Yeah. It's we're being very generalized in what we're talking about with this, because it's, I don't want to spoil anything,
and you can't talk about anything without just spending the next half hour.
We might have to do just a straight out just like spoiler, like we have to talk about the last 3 episodes and all the stuff that happens with Ben.
I might have to rewatch it. This is kind of how I know that it's something I really liked. When we get done, especially binge watching a show, when you get done and you're like, now I miss that universe in my life, right? I want to know more. I want to know what else is going on. And B, I want to watch it again. Like right now. Let's rewatch it.
And everybody who's been online has said essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
As soon as they get done, they're like, oh my God, where's season 2? It's been re-upped for season 2. I think it was the Tuesday after it dropped on Netflix. Like they announced, like everybody online by Saturday afternoon was all like, why is there no season 2 announced? And like
it's
Tuesday
like
or
when
Wednesday.
Stranger Things came out, and we were like, wait, I'm not done.
I want more. Oh, I'm waiting for the Stranger Things 3 trailer. But I think we will sit down maybe later on this week and do a extended discussion about Umbrella and Company, Umbrella Academy. I want to call it a company because it's really hard not to say Umbrella Company, but it's the Umbrella Academy. And so,
Umbrella Company is from the
Resident Evil stuff. So it all kind of flows the same.
Yeah.
But this is going to be one of our highly recommended shows on Netflix. You need to watch it.
Yep.
It's in that conversation for us of Stranger Things, which we'll probably have to do a rewatch sometimes after we get done with Game of Thrones. We're on season 4.
Yep, we're getting there.
Sherlock, Doctor Who, like all these shows that we go back and rewatch.
Yeah.
This is in that loop now, and it is so well done, so well stylized. The music. Oh, we haven't even talked about the. Okay, we have to move on.
Yeah, if you grew up in the 80s, 80s, early 90s,
80s and early
like
90s,
you know all the songs.
Oh, it's so
it's amazing.
It fits so well. The way I explained it, I see if I still have it open. I might have just blown up my computer. It's right there. Okay, I posted this on February 18th on the Facebook page. And this was my review of the Umbrella Academy. 3 dance scenes, timey-wimey, superpowers, great music, evil geniuses, and there's a talking monkey.
What more do you need?
What else do you need in your life to like it? Go watch this goddamn show. We're gonna move on, or we're gonna spend an hour talking about it. Okay,
moving on.
Something else that we watched on Netflix, because Netflix rules our life right now, is Polar. Now, Polar was a movie that came out with a little bit of fanfare to it.
We kind of saw we saw the, it kept shows you might like or whatever. Whenever we went to Netflix, it would pop
and
up.
There was a little bit of talk online, but not a ton. It is a movie starring Mads Mikkelsen and Vanessa Hudgens. And Mads plays a retiring hitman.
Yep.
He gets to 50 years old and he retires from his company, and the company decides that they need to retire him. And so it's this, again, based off of a graphic novel, which is called, I actually had it up here, Polar. Came from the Cold is the name of the graphic novel. Also Dark Horse, because Dark Horse is awesome. This and Matt Lucas, who is Nardal in that last season with Capaldi, and
Johnny Knoxville is in it for a hot minute.
Yeah,
in the beginning.
Yeah. This is the best way to try to explain this is they took Leon the Professional, about a hitman, and they added Smoking Aces to it. And then they set it in Montana.
Yeah.
And they took the cast from Umbrella Academy as the bad guys. Okay, and go. It's ultra violent, ultra sexy, like some very graphic sex scenes.
Yeah.
Some very graphic torture scenes, very graphic gunfighting scenes, with also a lot more heart than you would expect from a movie like this.
Yeah. I can't even. There's one scene, I can't even talk about it, but you're like, what the fuck did he just do?
Right. There's more than one of those in this movie.
It was very John Wick, the original John Wick.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're like, "Aw, wait." I won't spoil it, but oh my god.
Oh, that scene.
Yeah.
I see where you're going. Yes.
How about a goldfish?
Want a goldfish here? Want a goldfish here? Now I'm gonna have to go find that freaking GIF. Okay. I'm gonna talk about this for a second. The critics on Rotten Tomatoes, there was 43 reviews on it. It's 24% with the critics.
I don't know what they
and a lot of the critics, when I was reading through it, the ones who were complaining about it being ultra violent and kind of an ABC story and everything like that, all of those comments were also ones from critics who liked it,
who gave it a fresh score.
Who gave it a fresh score, and that's why I kept laughing at it. I would read her one review, and then using different words but saying the same thing in the next review, and one was fresh and one was rotten.
Right.
And I was just like, okay, I understand that not all movies are for everyone, but for us here at the Pop Culture Cult in our house, this is a wheelhouse movie.
Oh, yeah. This is a turn your mind off and just, it's a popcorn movie. We've compared it to Upgrade, which, if you haven't seen that movie, see it.
Yeah,
we saw it last year. It was amazing.
Watch The Umbrella Academy first, and then go see Upgrade.
You have homework.
You have homework.
But yeah, I mean, this is, I don't know. Are you trying to read it into it that this great... I mean, Mads Mikkelsen is a great actor, and he could do better, I guess, and he has. But this is hey, I got 6 weeks. Let's go film a movie.
This is 6 weeks. This is 6 weeks, and his buddy is the guy who's directing it, and
go hang out in Montana and film a movie.
Kind of one of those anomalies. He's one of those. This is gonna sound so bad. He's one of those European anomalies as an actor who can play the super serious, deep, intellectual movies and then go do a shoot 'em up movie and be a crazy comic book hero, anti-hero.
He's kind of Clive Owen-esque.
Kind of, yes.
Clive Owen did, the bank robber. He was doing like a lot of the bank robber movies, but he was also like spy.
He was the
assassin.
He was a doctor in that Showtime. It was a Showtime HBO where they were curing people. Oh, what was the name of that freaking? It was him, and he had a doctor's assistant who was a black man in the 40s. Oh, I cannot remember what it's called.
No idea.
I'll have to look it up. But yeah, he's that kind of guy who can kind of do both, and will just take jobs because he takes jobs. It's not like he's looking for, whatever thing.
Yeah.
And
it's
this
like
movie,
Shakespearean theater.
This movie is one of those ones that we'll go back and rewatch because it was fun. And like I said, there's actually like some feels in it. Yeah. Especially at the end.
It's a good Friday night popcorn movie.
That's what we did.
And the audience score was 73% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right.
So obviously the audience got it.
Do we want to give it a quick score?
3.0. 3.5.
Okay.
3.5.
That's where I was at. So here we are with same scores again. We'll have to keep track of our scores this year because we did that.
Have you been
keeping track? We're really going to start getting into stuff. We have Shazam this week, and then we have Us coming, and then we get into April.
Captain Marvel is Thursday.
No, sorry, Captain Marvel's this week. I just saw Shazam on the notes. Okay. We have Captain Marvel this week. We have Us coming, and then we have Shazam on the first week in April, and then we really start getting into.
Are we going to see Us?
I want to see Us, but there'll be a lot of watching through my eyes, or through
your eyes. I should hope
through my fingers in my eyes.
We'll do a matinee, and then we'll come home and watch something.
I don't know. I did okay with Get Out, and it's Jordan Peele, so
yeah, this one's a little more horror.
This is a little more horror.
I mean, there's been a couple scenes where I've been like,
Stanley Kubrick helped you direct this, didn't he? Let's talk about Rotten Tomatoes again some more. So. They came out last Monday and said that they're going to change their review aggregation
algorithm.
No, it's just
aggregation.
Anyways, they're going to change how they do stuff, and this is what they're going to do is they're no longer going to allow audience reviews and scores until the release date of the movie. And this comes directly out of what happened with Black Panther last year and Last Jedi, and then what's going on with Captain Marvel right now. And people who haven't even seen the movie are getting on and giving it like 12% reviews and how terrible it is, and and it's all directly out of trolls. Just
right.
It's a female superhero. It's a female lead superhero movie, or it's a black superhero lead, or. Ryan Johnson is terrible, and
I don't really know how much policing they do, but they probably need to do some policing after the fact too, because there's nothing to stop people. I mean, this was dumb. You're going to come out a month or month and a half before a movie even comes out, like a good month before the critics have even seen it,
right?
And start posting on Rotten Tomatoes. Everybody knows you haven't seen that movie. That was dumb.
People are already posting reviews of episode 9.
Right. Which isn't coming out until December.
It just stopped filming.
It's not. I mean, so that's dumb. But then you have those same types of people who are going in who maybe actually didn't see the movie and doing the same thing just to drive the score down.
Right. And they know, they have proof of that happening for Black Panther last year. They actually have visible proof of when people were going in and driving the score down on the audience.
And so
score.
I mean, I don't know how they police that, but I mean, because really, you're gonna have to just rely on people telling on somebody, right?
Right. Well, the thing about Rotten Tomatoes is it's not the thing about Rotten Tomatoes is both good and bad is that it's not a review site. It is a collection of different reviews, and different reviewers, different critics can get certified as critics certified critics on there, and they give their opinion and they give a score, and the Rotten Tomatoes score itself is a collection, the average of all of those scores,
right?
And then the audience score is the same thing, and so it's not Rotten Tomatoes' fault that trolls get on there. However, they are going to go in there and be a little bit more proactive about at least policing people pre-release of a movie.
Yeah.
And that driving the score down before they even get up, before it even comes out. And that to me is a very progressive thing to do. They're not changing how their system is. They're just going to say you can't say anything until April 5th when Shazam comes out.
Right. And they may be able to have something set up to flag people who always go in and do bad reviews and always give bad reviews. I don't know. And
there's some there's tons of critics that we follow and listen to that on a regular basis talk about all the negativity and when what they like. There's only like one perfect movie that ever came out, and that was Citizen Kane in 1943 or whatever when it came out. And every movie has been shit ever since then.
Right.
And so there's critics who are that style of critic, and that is fine. You can have that style of critic. What you can't have is somebody coming in and bad-mouthing something because there's a female lead as a superhero, or there's a black person as a lead.
Well, and we generally know what we're getting into with critics, right? If we're like super excited to see a movie and the critics, not the fans, but the critics are like, this thing is shit. Look at Polar.
Right.
And we're like, perfect. We're going to love this movie.
Right.
Because if the critics don't like it, we'll love it.
And we didn't like Venom, and all the critics loved Venom. So it's a counter. It's Rotten Tomatoes, like Cinema Score, are good tools to help you decide where to spend your money.
Yeah.
We have the A-list from AMC. That's what I'm trying to say, and that allows us to go see a lot of movies for essentially free. We pay a subscription service or whatever.
Right. If we see a shitty movie, it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal. But people who were taking, there's four of us going to dinner and everything else, and it's a $200-$300 night because you get popcorn at the movies and everything like that. You don't want to spend $200-$300 on a movie that gets 35%. So you have to do some research. That's what this tool for Rotten Tomatoes is good for.
Right.
I'm just really happy that they've made a progressive step forward.
Yeah. Well, this seems like a no-brainer. Like I said.
Even in the article I was reading from the Washington Post, and they were quoting the Variety article, like they had already been working on this.
Yeah.
The Rotten Tomatoes.
It just seems dumb. Like I said, how can you have any opinion about Last Jedi?
Right.
How can you have opinion about a movie when it hasn't even come out yet for like another month? It's not even like you've seen a screening.
You can't tell me that Brie Larson was terrible in the role of Captain Marvel. She's got a freaking gold statue. She's a good actress. Now, what they did with her may not be good, and you can have that opinion. But saying that she is a personal affront and she's going to ruin the Marvel universe... Because it's like, no, you're done.
Whatever.
Moving on to more fun things like trailers. We did 4 trailer reactions over the last week or so. I did Shazam. I actually even said in the trailer reaction, that's the only way you can say it, is Shazam. That was the second trailer, probably the last big trailer. Some new stuff in there.
Yeah.
I'm like I said also in the trailer reaction, you've got my money.
We're
going.
Right.
The only reason I did the trailer reaction is because of the channel. I did Frozen before we left for our event. Again, not a movie for us, but...
I don't know. Maybe we'll take the Grand Girl.
Maybe we'll take the Grand Girl or whatever.
Because she used to sing that all the time.
Yeah.
She watched that movie a ton.
And I love the animation, and it looks cool, and I'm really happy for everybody who's in it, and get paid. But freaking Frozen's coming out, and Endgame, and last of the always hope of episode 9, whatever they're going to call it. Disney's going to have all the money this year.
Yep.
Dark Phoenix trailer also dropped this last week. I would like to thank everybody who's watched it so far, all 8 of you. Send it to your friends.
I haven't watched.
I'm
terrible.
I think I watched it. I don't know. Sometimes trailer reactions hit, and sometimes they don't, and it just hit and miss. But that one looks really cool. I'm really excited. And then I did one for completely out of guilt, not even guilty pleasure, straight out pleasure, is Idris Elba's new movie called Turn Up Charlie that's coming out to Netflix. We will be watching this movie. It's about a struggling DJ who becomes a nanny for a friend who is a world-class DJ, and the little girl is like 7 or 8 and says vagina, and she's walking around with a vibrator half the time of like one of the parts. And if you know anything about the EDM world, Idris Elba has done a really cool documentary about that. Yep. And he also is an active DJ. Yep. So
basically Idris, yes.
So that's going to be pretty much a win no matter what. Even if it's a comedy, and I'm interested to see him do comedy.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen him do comedy.
No, he's been funny, but not but not a straight out comedy.
Yep.
And we all think he's going to be the next Bond, which will roll us into the next story.
How convenient.
Rami Malek is in final talks.
He's so hot right now.
He is so hot right now to be the villain in Bond 25. The reason I brought this story up is it's about a week and a half old. Jeff Snyder from Collider told a really cool story about how he broke the news. He was the one who broke the news of everything, and it kind of snowballed from there. Go find that. It's out there on the internet. It's a really cool conversation. But Cary Fukunaga is actually the one who's writing and directing this one. He'll be the first non-Brit to direct, I believe. Trying to roll in my head. I think there's one American that did it. But he'll be a non-British director doing the movie. And Rami Malek is the bad guy, is like such an awesome choice.
Yeah, well, and like I said, he's sort of the bad guy. He's the bad guy and the good guy in Mr. Robot. So I get it. I totally think he will.
I could totally see him being the super intellectual. They've done the computer hacker genius one with Javier Bardem in Skyfall.
Right.
So they've already kind of had that, and then we had the mastermind with Christoph Waltz.
Yeah.
And Spectre. As much as everybody hates Spectre, I love Spectre. It's not as good as Skyfall. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But this is a proper follow-up big boy villain for those last two movies.
Yeah.
And
it'll be interesting to see.
And Mads Mikkelsen, going back to a previous story, was the bad guy in Casino Royale. So and so that having Rami, like, he won the Oscar on Sunday, and then like the following Tuesday they were talking about the story kind of broke. Yep. And so
like I said, he's so hot right now.
I would like to see him, like, this could be really weird, like in a wheelchair, like a super brain kind of guy. It would be kind of weird,
like Professor X.
A little bit, kind of a Professor X kind of feel to him. Don't shave his head though. No. And not only did he get an Oscar for Bohemian Rhapsody, he got a really hot girlfriend.
Yeah.
The last story that we're going to talk about tonight is Edgar Wright's movie that's coming. Now, I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, but we haven't been doing the show. Edgar Wright, yes.
Yes.
Is doing a psychological horror thriller.
Yes.
Edgar, based in Soho. Yes. So he's been he hasn't really done anything since Baby Driver. And I know that there's Baby Driver 2 script. He's actually talked about it. He wants to do Baby Driver 2. And they're not doing any more of the Cornello trilogy stuff.
Right.
Although they have all talked about doing something again together.
Well, what did he do? I mean, I know he was on Ant-Man for a while. So what did he do between Scott Pilgrim and Baby Driver?
He did World's End.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so Scott Pilgrim, then World's End, then Baby Driver.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah. So I mean, he still kind of has 4 or 5 years in between his movies.
He's
time.
Quentin Tarantino kind of like.
Yeah, he's not cranking them out.
He's not cranking them out. He's actually spending the time, especially if you watch if you watch his films and then go back and watch like movies with Mikey or Cinema Wins, and you can see all the detail that he puts into the movies.
So much.
So it's so much. One of the reasons why we love Scott Pilgrim is all the detail, but also like there's so much stuff in World's End you don't even know it's a 5 drunken guys kind of thing. It's just so this story is the movie is said to be in the vein of Donald Sutherland's 1973 Don't Look Now and Roman Polanski's Repulsion. So kind of that kind of more psychologically, kind of whatever.
Alfred Hitchcock.
Hitchcock-y. Collider reported the film will take place in 2 different time periods. One is in the 60s and one is in the modern day. Anya Taylor-Joy will play the lead in the 60s part. And then Mackenzie was... I lost it. Anyways, Shannon Mackenzie is going to play a fashion student in the modern day. Mackenzie is the girl from Martian who's the satellite, takes care of the satellites and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
She's in something else, too.
Yeah, Yeah. So she's going to play the modern, and Anya Taylor-Joy is going to play the 60s, and then Matt Smith was hired, and that's why we wanted to talk about this, because Doctor Who.
Is he going to be all timey-wimey and go back and forth between the 2 times?
He's the bad guy. He's the villain. Right. He's the one. It would be cool if they kind of do the back and forth, kind of Quentin Tarantino, where they tell the story out of order kind of thing. And he's the same, same in both kind of things. But
Edgar Wright.
So all the details and all the different things, and he hasn't done like a psychological thriller horror kind of movie. So all that's kind of got my attention, and it's Matt Smith, and he was we love him at Doctor Who, and
he was amazing in The Crown.
And Josh and I, who do Rebel Files, have had long conversations about who he's going to be in episode 9.
Right.
And so I'm always excited when Doctor Who alumni do really well. And this is kind of if you get in the Edgar Wright wheelhouse, we will be there for you. So that's this week. Only other thing that I wanted to do was thank our patrons. We have 3 patrons right now at the pop level, ultra pop level. That is David, who's patron number 1. We have Michael, who we just did his movie. That patron, his suggestion this month was THX 1138. We just did a review that is available on Patreon right now. At the $1 level, you can actually watch the review. And then we have Joel, our brewer buddy from the Pacific Northwest. It's your turn, Joel.
Pick a movie.
But the 3 of them are ultra pop level, and we are going to, as we get more ultra pop level patrons, we are going to announce their names.
And if you're the $5 level, you get to give us a movie that we have to watch and review once every 6 months, which is why we just did THX 1138. 1137. See, 1137 it rolls off the tongue better. So you just can't. It not the road. We won't
do the road again.
That's 2 hours of my life I'm never getting back.
I know.
And within reason. No pornos.
We might do WW Dallas or Pirates. What was that Pirates one I don't know. There was some other one. Anyways, but we want to thank all of our patrons, but specifically those at the ultra level. If you are at a lower level and would like to have your name mentioned in the show, It's only $5 a month. It's not a big deal.
And by the way, we did What Your Money Goes To. We did a big Facebook campaign before we left.
Yes.
Got a ton of traction from that.
Yes.
And then we're getting ready to purchase some new audio. So we'll have a new intro for this show and for the Star Wars.
Get the...
Hey, Star Trek is good too.
We like Star Trek too.
The Star Wars show and some software.
We have some Delusions of Grandeur coming here, and we're going to be doing some stuff at Phoenix Comic Confusion Fan Thing Fest thing, and so we have some stuff that we're going to be doing for that. So if you are interested in helping grow this show, please subscribe to the channel. If you have not already subscribed, please share with your friends. Let them know what we're doing here, and help us out on Patreon if you can. $1 level a month. I mean, you find that in the couch a month, right? So, so that's our show for this week. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, good night, cult members.